Hello, my name is Peter Cochrane, and I'm an artist based in Richmond, Virginia. Primarily photographic, but I would call myself a conceptual artist, so I tend to follow the medium of the idea. So even as a photographer, I tend to work in the studio, which means that I'm building a lot of things to be photographed. Sculpture is a pretty important part of my practice, whether it's an actual sculpture like we see here, or it's something that's going to be photographed. So when I'm constructing something for the camera, it's basically to be a translation of that physical object that I've made and the histories that it holds and all of that. Part of my journey between undergrad and grad school was working with artists in the Bay Area and learning about what it is to be a working artist. But I, on the other side, became a florist sort of out of happenstance. So at that point, I got to start really researching floral histories and deciding how I wanted to work with them as an artist moving forward. I started making these objects, and that became part of sculptural creation for the camera. What can I find from Creative Commons libraries through places like the Smithsonian or the Met or Getty, and how can I print out those images to bring the flowers that I no longer have access to into my artistic practice? Or in the case of sculpture, how can I make flowers that don't necessarily exist? Can I sort of embed a bit of my interest in sci-fi or objects that aren't necessarily real? How can I build those now that I don't have the ability to see them anymore? This piece here is an installation of flowers, and they're made out of lead. And several years ago now, I was working with gold leaf and was thinking about the alchemists and their goal to translate lead into gold. So I was thinking about transformation, and as time went on and I started letting these ideas sort of sink in, lead continued to pop up, and I wanted to use it again in a beautiful context. So thinking about flowers, which are always important to my practice, I wanted to create something beautiful out of this object that has harmful connotations. Lead has these protective and dangerous qualities. You can't ingest it, but as an inert object like this, it's safe to be around and can be turned into something really beautiful. As I was making these for the client that asked for this cool spray of lead flowers going up the staircase, I kind of kept thinking about what can it be? How can this transform? Could I make really giant lead flowers or other bent metal flowers? One really great thing about building objects for the camera or building objects for a permanent installation like this is, for me, flowers are this kind of perfect encapsulation of life and death. They're something that we watch grow. They have this quote-unquote peak beauty moment, but I love them in nascent stages and in death. And then they die. And so we get to watch this life cycle anytime we buy some from the florist or grow them outside. And what's really great about building something like this is you get to collapse that idea into permanence. As much as flowers come and go, from early oil paintings of still lifes on through photographic still lifes, we've always had this notion that we want to preserve flowers in this moment. And it's pretty incredible to be able to do that and capture the life cycle in a permanent space.